WWE Crown Jewel 2023 is in the books. What's going on, guys? Happy Saturday to you, and welcome to Not a Winged Eagle podcast. Today, we're just here to review WWE Crown Jewel that just went off the air about an hour ago. I thought it was a good show. I really did. I immediately in the chat here want to hear what you guys thought about it. Give me your letter or number grades, 1 through 10, A, B, C, or D. I thought it was a good show. Couple of things weren't great about the show. Of course, the main event, I'm sure, did not please very many people, as we did, in fact, get the typical type of Roman Reigns successful title defense here, where he just has outside interference from his bloodline family, and they help him win. It's something that we've seen way too many times in his title defenses, and it was the same thing here in my predictions. And leading up to this match, I was kind of pitching ideas for them to kind of make LA Knight stone cold to Roman Reigns as Bret Hart, to where he can lose and will not walk out of the match with the championship, but his stock increases, or, the level on the roster where he's going to be in the future kind of increases with these losses and with these, career defining fights. And unfortunately, it didn't really feel like that happened here in the main event. It kind of felt like your typical Roman Reigns standard title defense against Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre. Typical stuff. The only difference is this time it was mostly Jimmy doing all the work, and Jimmy didn't really cost LA Knight the match. He was just out there to cause enough of a distraction that gave Roman the advantage that he needed. So they didn't really get too creative with that finish here. I was hoping they would do something a little bit more creative than that, possibly even with LA Knight picking up a disqualification victory over Roman, but Roman still leaving with the championship, because the only thing we knew for sure was that LA Knight was not leaving Saudi Arabia as the WWE champion. We knew that wasn't going to be the case. But I was kind of hoping for maybe a little bit more out of the finish than what we got. But at the end of the day, I still don't think the match was bad. I still think LA Knight, he lived up to the challenge of being on that stage, because he's not the level of a worker of a Seth Rollins or some of these other really, really good workers, but he is good in the ring. He's a big character. His stock is rising. He's entertaining. He has it all. And I thought he handled himself pretty well in the main event, all things considered. A couple of near falls. He kicked out of Superman punch, spear. So it's not like he was squashed or buried or anything like that. And I'm sure those terms are floating around social media from the idiots, but that's not the case. I think if I had any issue with the main event at all, it's just the fact that they went with a pretty typical finish and they didn't get very creative with it, when I thought and assumed there was plenty of time to get a little bit more creative than just the typical standard stuff that they were doing. If LA Knight is special, then you should treat his match with Roman Reigns special. And if you must have Roman Reigns retain the title, maybe do it in a way that can help elevate LA Knight as well. And I'm not sure if they accomplished that here, because he wasn't, there was one blunt force trauma where he had the win. Jimmy put Roman's foot on the ropes. So other than that, it's not like, he was in the middle of the ring. I don't think anyway, unless I missed the spot. But I was expecting to see LA Knight get the 3 count on Roman with the referee bumped. Have a referee bump, and then he's got him with the blunt force trauma in the middle, covers him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no referee. I don't really think we got that spot here. It was just Jimmy saving Roman with the foot on the ropes. But other than that, and maybe the less than exciting return of Kairi Sane, who did return as a heel tonight to help Io Sky defeat Bianca Belair. We mentioned that as a possibility in the predictions, and that happened. But again, the fans didn't really react to it, and I think it's going to be much better once they get back here in the States. And as we speculated in the predictions on Thursday, we talked about Kairi Sane possibly turning up in this match, and I said that maybe she wouldn't, because when she first came back, they might want to bring her back in as kind of a baby face, and then she turns heel and joins Io Sky. That's kind of how I thought they would do it, but instead she came back in as a heel. I'm not sure if a lot of the audience even knew who she was, and that kind of fell flat, but I think that's going to be just for tonight. I think fans in general are going to be very happy that Kairi Sane is back, and apparently she's not the only name previously associated with Io Sky that could be heading back to the company, and we could see ourselves, creating here a little Japanese faction in the company, especially if you bring, some other faces in from Stardom, or Asuka turns heel and joins them. That could be a lot of fun. Io Sky might just have to leave Bailey and Dakota Kai behind. So I don't know if Kairi Sane is part of Damage Control now or what's going on there, but she is back. Also, big news on John Cena tonight. Got his ass whooped versus Solo Sikoa. By the way, it's the only match I got wrong on the entire show in terms of my predictions. I predicted John Cena to win. I thought he was going to turn the math around, but he did not turn that math around. Not only did he lose, he got fucking annihilated. I thought that he would win this match, get that monkey off his back, winning his first singles match in 5 years, and then riding off into the sunset until he reappears again, whether it be at next year's WrestleMania or whenever. But Solo, they were telling the story with a Samoan spike, and I think he hit a grand total of about 7 or 8 Samoan spikes on John Cena and completely destroying him. And as Cena was leaving the ring, you would think he would have to be helped to the back with all those spikes, but he just left, kind of looked at the crowd. Some people thought maybe this was a retirement or an end for Cena. It is not, but it might be the end for a little while. And it was kind of depressing to see Cena all sad, stumbling to the back after getting his ass whooped. I thought Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins crushed it. I loved what they did with Sami Zayn tonight and figuring out a way to not have Damian Priest cash in. Logan Paul is your new United States champion. So there was some decent things on the show tonight. For sure, or today, or this morning. By the way, I had to get up at 9 a.m. to start watching this shit here in California. So overall, I thought the show was good. Was it as good as I was hoping it would be? Maybe not. Maybe it just fell a little bit under that. But I think a lot of what they did here, the strength in the matches, the women's matches, both of them are really good. So I am going to give this pay-per-view good marks, even though I don't think it was perfect across the board. Still a very good show, and I enjoyed it for the most part. So let me go over here to the chat, say hello to you guys. Happy Saturday to you, by the way. Glad you are here. I know 1 million people are on YouTube right now talking about Crown Jewel, so if you're watching me, that means you chose me. I appreciate that. If you could do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button for me. It would be much appreciated. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We are less than 200 subscribers away from 40,000 on the channel. We should be there pretty soon, so make sure you stick around if this is your first time visiting one of our live streams. Let me cruise over here to the chat. You eat crayons too, John Woodmiss? Yeah, which ones are your favorite? I like the purples. Which is your favorite flavor of the crayons? Yeah, I like purple. I'm kind of a sucker for purple. Anyway, good to see our channel members like Max Pokebra get the belt off Seth already. Max is ready for Seth to lose that belt. If I'm establishing a brand new championship, I'm not hot potatoing the thing right away. I would like my first run to be somewhat lengthy, and I don't think Seth's run with the title has been too lengthy. Roman's holding on to his for 3.5 fucking years. We can't handle a 6-month run from Seth Rollins. I think we'll all be just fine, Max. And that time is coming for Seth. They've been telling you that story. Isn't that what fans always say? They want stories. Well, they're telling you a big story with Seth. His back, he's injured, he's banged up, he's burning the belt at both ends. It's going to catch up to him, and it's probably going to catch up to him in the form of a cash-in. You just got to be patient. But patience and wrestling fans don't really like each other. That's one thing I've learned watching all these years. Stone Cold 10X in the house as well, along with Zane G and Zach and Isaac and Ian Dunn. And Zane G is dropping in very generous $10. Thank you for that, dude. With all the interference from JD, it's then I knew that it was building up towards Survivor Series with possible singles matches within the following weeks, leading to the Survivor Series. You're probably talking about the War Games thing, which was, I believe, confirmed tonight, right? They ran a little spot for Survivor Series confirming War Games, and it definitely feels like that's what they're going to be doing here, and I think that's great. And I'm with you, Zane, on that one, but appreciate you being here as always. We got Joshua Aparicio as well in the house, along with Stephen Harris, Gilbert, Sonic Plays, Brian, David Brown. What's up, dude? Green P is here. We have Odyssey, Denny Downbad, Mega Teddy, Jay Lambo, Rodrigo. Good to see all of you guys here on this Saturday afternoon. Hopefully you're having a great one. Should give you a little bit of a programming note here. Normally we are here on Sunday nights to do classic pay-per-view watch-alongs. I have my stepdad's 70th birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to be having dinner and celebrating with my family. So unfortunately, no watch-along tomorrow, but we will pick those up next Sunday, and we will be here Monday night as well after Raw to do a review, as we will have some fallout most likely from Crown Jewel here tonight. So no watch-along tomorrow, but we will be back on Monday night for a Raw review to talk about anything else left to discuss. So that's what's going to be on tap for the next couple of days. You guys are giving it C pluses and Ds, huh? I guess I'm putting it in the B category. So maybe I'm way overvaluing this pay-per-view. I'll have to see what the opinions for the most part on social media are. I wasn't seeing too many people shitting on the show. I don't think the problem though is I didn't see any reactions to the main event. And a lot of times the last thing you see will determine the grade or score you give to the whole show. So if a lot of people are saying D or giving it Fs, it's probably because they didn't like the main event. That's all. Because there's no way you could watch the matches and the quality of the matches we saw tonight and give it a D. There's no way. It has to be something that's making you say that. So I think most likely if anybody's going to be giving the show a bad grade, it's because Roman Reigns retained. But I don't think anybody expected him to lose the title. Maybe the biggest frustration is what I talked about earlier, is they just didn't go too far out of their way to come up with a more creative finish than what they've done in the past with Roman Reigns. Maybe that's the deal here, and that's understandable. So we'll get talking about it here in just a second. I just want to get all my pleasantries out of the way. See, Ian Dunn's giving it a B plus. You're with me. I'm going to give it a B. Maybe not a B plus. We got a C plus from Gilbert. That's not bad. But D's and F's. I just don't see how you could give the show a D or an F unless you are that mad about Roman's victory. But that victory shouldn't have surprised you. So it is what it is. Why don't we start off talking about tonight's WWE Crown Jewel? Also, if there is any wrestling news you would like me to get into today, we'll do that at the end. I have not really looked at any wrestling news today. There was something. Oh, yeah, the one little news tidbit that I did find funny today, this was reported by House of Wrestling, is that the cocaine spot that they recently did on NWA pay-per-view could legitimately negatively impact their deal with the CW network, because apparently they've got a TV deal coming for the NWA, but then they ran that crazy thing with James Mitchell, doing the lines and snorting and all that stuff on their pay-per-view, trying a little bit too hard perhaps to be edgy, could actually cost them their TV deal. And that would be hilarious. You will get a TV deal as long as you don't blow it. I wouldn't even be mad. I would have no sympathy for them. Like, I don't give a shit about the NWA at all. Don't care if they get a TV deal, don't get a TV deal. Don't really care. So that would be the ultimate cell phone. And talk about shooting yourself in the foot, stepping on your own dick, can't get out of your own way. That seems to be the epitome of the NWA right now. But that would be pretty funny if they lose their TV deal because of that ridiculously stupid spot that meant nothing. Crazy. What a world. But if there's anything else you guys want to get into today, we will touch on that as well. But let's start talking about Crown Jewel results. Now, I'm on the West Coast. I live in California. I also work in restaurants and I work late at night. I ain't getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning to watch wrestling. I'm sorry. I got up at 10. So I got up in time for the main card, completely missed Sami Zayn and JD McDonough, but I knew what the outcome was going to be. Sami Zayn was going to beat him. He did. Won with a Blue Thunder Bomb, I believe. And of course, Sami Zayn is very beloved by that audience. And it wouldn't be the last time we would see Sami out there. And I'm glad we saw him return, because even though I thought it was a great way to kick off the show on the kickoff show, having Sami Zayn come out there and have his moment, I thought that would be a pretty cool way to start things off. But I was surprised they were flying Sami all the way over there just to do that. So the fact that he came back out again is pretty awesome. And hell, I was hoping, well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but I was kind of hoping that Sami would come in and cash in the briefcase on Roman Reigns. I don't know what the rules are. If you physically steal, or if you steal the physical briefcase and the contract, that doesn't change the name on the contract, right? So I don't think you could just take the briefcase and then use it as your own. But it would have been funny if Sami Zayn did that. But the show opened up with an absolutely phenomenal World Heavyweight Championship match with Seth Rollins defending against Drew McIntyre. This is exactly what I love about WWE's crop of wrestlers sometimes, is that two guys like this put on a goddamn clinic. I loved everything about this match. This was so good. And it really made me kind of hope that Drew McIntyre sticks around. I've always believed that he's going to. He's not going to leave WWE for AEW. I just didn't feel like he would, but he should at least try to entertain that offer, see what he can get from AEW and potentially leverage himself or whatever. But seeing him in WWE just really feels like that's where he belongs. And this match was so good. Of course, it was focused on Seth Rollins' back, Really wild, outlandish outfit by Seth tonight. I really enjoyed that. And Drew was really working over the back of Seth Rollins and just really roughing Rollins up. So he was having to kind of fight from behind this whole time. Drew was very dominant. However, Seth would continue to have his normal flurries of offense despite the bad back. We had a very close superplex near fall on Seth, from Seth onto Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre kicked out of the stomp. So it was like this big superplex spot, and then Seth got up and then immediately stomped Drew and was able to kick out of that. Another great near fall. One of my favorite spots, I think, of the whole match was the Phoenix Splash attempt by Rollins, which was just so smooth. He missed it, but he rolled Eddie Guerrero style, landed kind of right on his feet, hopped right back up, but then ate a Claymore right down his throat. Unbelievable spot there. And Seth sold it like $1 million and kicked out. Extremely close near fall there. Eventually, it would be a pedigree and a stomp from Seth Rollins for the win to put Drew McIntyre away. But Drew had two near falls that were really close. And one of them, I believe, was just after like a standard suplex or something. What I think it was the spot where Seth went for his big superplex that he usually rolls into a Falcon Arrow or something, right? Is usually what he rolls that into, but Drew kind of stopped it and then reversed the suplex on Rollins. And even though it was a straight vertical suplex reversal, he covered Rollins, and Rollins just barely kind of just rolled his shoulder out of there to where I swear 30% of the audience thought that match was over. It was a really close near fall. The whole match was great. These two guys are both at their top of their game, two of the best in the company, two former world champions, exactly the type of match that Greg likes, and pedigree and stomp for the win. Seth putting down Drew McIntyre clean, which is what I thought he had to do here. I think this needs to keep tying into the frustration of Drew McIntyre potentially boiling over, and resulting in a heel turn for McIntyre. Now, I had speculated in my predictions about Damian Priest. And I said, one thing I like that WWE is doing right now with Damian Priest is that they are acknowledging that he has these opportunities throughout the show. And we saw that happen at the last pay-per-view. I said, before that last man standing match, I said, what is Priest going to do if Seth Rollins, or what is he going to do after the last man standing match? Because whoever wins that match, Rollins or Nakamura, is going to be completely spent. There has to be a reason why Priest can't cash in the briefcase. Because if he's sitting in the back, completely healthy, having a hot dog, and he's got the champion that's completely spent and decimated in the ring or outside the ring after a match, why the fuck is he not running out there? So they took care of that. They had Ripley get pissed at him and ground him and take his briefcase away. No briefcase for you for the rest of the day. Cool. They got out of that scenario. This was another situation. I said, what are they going to do here? Because if Damian Priest doesn't have his match with Cody yet, he's going to be fresh. So why would he not want to take advantage of Seth or Drew having a grueling match against the other? Because he knows they are ripe, especially if Seth retains. If Seth retains, the whole story has been how he is banged up. So even if Seth beats Drew and he's still standing, he's still injured, and he just fought and faced, one of the most dominant champions WWE's had in the last 5 years. So what's going to be the reason for Damian Priest not to cash in? And I said that in the predictions. They're going to have to do something to explain it. Otherwise, you're going to wonder where the hell he is. And sure enough, I thought one thing that I pitched in the predictions on Thursday was that after the loss, Drew McIntyre would snap, annihilate Seth Rollins, fuck him up, put him through every announce table, and just leave him laying there, and then Priest could come out and cash in. That's how I thought they were going to do it. But Drew did not attack Seth after the match. He just accepted it and left, and Damian Priest did come out. Priest's music hits. He's coming out with the briefcase. And so this is when I kind of got interested. I'm like, okay, they're either going to do it or they're not here, because I think when Priest cashes in for real, it's going to be a title change. I do not think Priest is going to fail his cash in. But I'm also not sure if Crown Jewel is where they're going to do it. So if they're not going to do it, what's going to happen? Something's going to happen. And you could tell. Priest runs down there, and then as soon as he starts having the conversation with the referee, that's when I knew he wasn't going to do it, because he's like giving the briefcase. he's not like he's in a hurry, but he's like, hey, here's the briefcase. I'm going to go in. He's telling the referee, and he's pointing at the referee and pointing in the ring. He goes, I'm going to go in there and kick his ass, ring the bell. You wouldn't have this conversation with the referee if you were really doing this. You would be like, here's my fucking briefcase, ring the bell, I'm getting in there. You wouldn't explain your plan to the referee. So that little hesitation there, that little stall just made me wait. I'm like, something's going to happen. And sure enough, somebody jumps over the barricade in a hood, attacks Damian Priest, takes off the hood to reveal it's Sami Zayn. He grabs the briefcase and steals it and runs away with it. Runs completely out of the arena. I love that. That was so great because that's all I ask for, is it just to make sense. Because Damian Priest, as long as he's got that briefcase and as long as he's healthy, there should be no reason for him not to want to try to cash in tonight. Because this isn't the only championship match that we're going to have. There's one later. So now by Sami taking the briefcase away, you're not going to be wondering as a fan, why didn't Damian Priest come out? LA Knight took Roman Reigns to the limit. Why would he not want to come out and be new World Heavyweight Champion? Because he can't, because Sami Zayn stole his briefcase. So I appreciate WWE doing that. I know it's just a little detail, but there have been times in the past where I've been like, how come the Money in the Bank guy hasn't come out here and cashed in? Perfect opportunity, right? So at least they're doing things with Priest to take away his opportunity. And I think that's going to be part of the story too, for people like Max and anybody else who might be frustrated with how long this is taking. That's part of the ride. That's part of the fun. Money in the Bank was in July. It's fucking the beginning of November. It's been like 4 months. It's with you guys and your fucking attention spans. Just be patient, man. I think WWE is waiting for the right time. They might already know when that time is. Like, hypothetically, if WWE knows when they want to do this with Damian Priest, that means they need to do things with him on the shows leading up to that to thwart his efforts to cash in the briefcase. Because one thing I don't want to see is to see a world champion in the ring completely destroyed with a healthy and happy and perfectly capable Damian Priest sitting in the back with his thumb up his ass. So at least they are doing things to get Priest kind of out of the picture, which meant later on in the LA Knight and Roman Reigns match, we were going to get that match without having to worry about a cash-in. Sometimes worrying about the cash-in, if it'll happen or if it won't happen, is good. But if Priest was able to keep his briefcase, like if Sami Zayn came out and stopped him, or whatever earlier, and he just wasn't able to cash in, but he held on to the actual physical briefcase, then I think Cody would have had to injure him in their match. That's another thing I thought was going to happen because they injured Cody. So I thought tonight Cody would injure Priest, which would take him out of any potential cash-in. So that's what they've been doing, and I like it. I don't mind it at all, and this match was great, and I loved the little touch of Sami Zayn coming in and jacking the briefcase from Damian Priest. That was so good. Way to go, Sami. That was worth the flight over to Saudi Arabia, which I don't know about you guys, but if you're flying to Saudi Arabia, you need to fly Saudi Air. After that, we had Rhea Ripley defending her, she's the women's world champion, right? I forget which one her and Seth are. Yeah, the world champion. So she's defending her WWE Women's World Championship. Is that what it's called? In a fatal five-way against Zoe Stark, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Raquel Rodriguez. I loved this match. This actually turned out to be really good. Also, I want to give all the women and WWE in general props on the ring gear that they've been wearing. I have really loved the women's ring gear in the past few Saudi shows. It's been getting better and better. Like those early Saudi shows, all they were doing is just wearing a black t-shirt and sleeves over their already existing gear. Now they're kind of having shit designed specifically for this, and all of the women look great. Even Nia Jax. I liked all of their stuff. In the later match, Io Sky was wearing like early Hardy Boys Lita attire, which was really cool, and Rhea Ripley just unbelievably good. She kind of looked like she's got a Brandon Lee Crow type of thing going on. Nia Jax had the big poofy hair out. Raquel was all in red. Zoe looked very good. They all looked great. And the women's gear has been on point in Saudi Arabia. Before, because of, the rules in Saudi Arabia and the women can't show any skin and everything, WWE was just covering them up. But now they're getting creative with the gear. And I think they're using this to create actually more creative gear, to be honest. I mean, we all love having the titties and the legs and the asses hanging out, don't get me wrong, but I think the gear that all of the women wore tonight, and all 7 of them, this one and then Bianca and Io Sky later, they were all hits. All of the gear looked great, and I'm really happy to see that be a thing that we can look forward to on these Saudi shows, as they're taking a situation that's weird over there with the women not being able to show anything or wear what they normally would wear, and they're taking that and turning it into really fun and inspired gear. And I liked what they were all wearing. Rhea Ripley came out last. She kind of had a special entrance. She basically had like Saudi druids, a bunch of them came out in the headdress, and they had like, I don't know, like a goblet or something. I don't know what it was, but it kind of reminded me of the Undertaker's druids. And there was a ton of them. Felt like 100 of them. It felt like they didn't know what to do either. They were coming out there smiling at the camera, and they, instead of just going straight to what they were doing, but they kind of form a corridor for Rhea Ripley to come out. I thought that was very cool. I'm glad that she got a special entrance there. And the match was pretty good, all things considered. These type of matches can sometimes be a clusterfuck. I didn't think this was. I think Nia Jax was clearly the weak link in there, but she, like I said, even she looked good. I really liked her gear too, like her gear and her hair. Everybody just looked fantastic. All of the women tonight, I can't say enough things about each and every one of them. They look great. Nia, physically, weakest link in the ring, easily, but the match was still pretty fun. I love the spot where Shayna Baszler had 3 submissions on at one time. I think she had a leg thing on Rhea Ripley and Zoe Stark, and then Nia Jax came in and she started choking her with the Kirifuda clutch. That was really good until it was broken up. Raquel ended up, this was kind of went into the finish here. They got Nia Jax completely out of the ring. She was going up for her bonsai drop or whatever, and Raquel came in from behind her and tried to power bomb her. Nia did not land well. It wasn't a very far fall to the mat, but she didn't land the way you're supposed to land as a wrestler. And it looked like she might have tweaked her neck or something, but she rolled out of the ring, leaving everybody else in there to do the finish. Raquel has got Shayna Baszler down, and I think she hits her with a top rope move or something like that. She's got her down. She's got her pinned, but Ripley is, I think, on the second rope with Zoe Stark, lifts her up in a riptide, and riptides Zoe on top of Raquel, who's on top of Shayna, pinning her, and winds up pinning, I think, who did she even pin on that? I don't even remember who Rhea Ripley pinned in the finish. Can you guys help me out? She hit the riptide on basically Zoe and Raquel and Shayna, but I don't remember which of the 3 women she pinned. I think Zoe, but it could have been any of them. I don't know. Rhea Ripley retains just like she should have. There was no way I would take the title off of Rhea Ripley here. I think Rhea Ripley should hold the title until WrestleMania 40 when she faces Becky Lynch next year. So that was good. Enjoyed the match. It was good. Really liked almost everything about the match. I really did. I thought this one might be a bathroom break, but it wasn't. It was fantastic. After that, we got a nice propaganda commercial promoting Saudi Air. It was LA Knight, Bayley, Bianca Belair, and Drew McIntyre talking about how well they were treated. And I'm sure, though, those luxury flights are nice. They have food and, they really take care of you. And I'm sure it was all very nice. It just had a gross context to it or something hard to describe, but they were talking about Saudi Air. So I went ahead and decided based off that commercial that I will definitely fly Saudi Air when I never go to Saudi Arabia, for sure. After that was Solo Sikoa versus John Cena. Will John Cena turn the math around? That's what it's been. It's what he's been talking about on TV, on SmackDown. Hasn't won a singles match in the WWE in 5 years. Last time he did one was the first time they ever went to Saudi Arabia when he beat Triple H. I hadn't even met Elizabeth yet last time John Cena won a singles match. And he's been discussing and hinting in his promos recently on TV that maybe the end is near for him. Maybe he needs to reevaluate if he can still bring to the table what he used to be able to bring. He's acknowledged that he doesn't even deserve title shots because he hasn't earned them. And, this was something that I thought could go either way. And I talked about that in the predictions. This is the only match I got wrong in my predictions. And I said, well, I could see it going both ways. I could see Solo beating Cena, because Cena's probably going to leave again, and you're trying to establish Solo as a badass. And he's been taking a lot of losses lately, so it might be a good time to give him a big win. But then again, Cena beat Austin Theory at WrestleMania, and what did it do for Theory? Nothing. So are they going to do that again? Are they going to take another chance on another person and a Cena loss? So I wasn't sure about that. But then again, Cena winning would only be for the purposes of maintaining his legacy a little bit and turning that math around, as he likes to call it, and giving him a victory before he disappears again. Because now, Cena, I don't know what he's going to do in terms of the writer's strike, and if he's going to stick around past this. I feels like he's kind of gone, or if he's going to come back for next year's WrestleMania. But even if he does, who does he face at next year's WrestleMania? A rematch with Solo Sikoa? Who knows? Now, in the build to this, Paul Heyman was talking about Cena's biggest asset, which is his voice and his speaking ability, and that Solo was going to take that away with the Samoan spike. John Cena, apparently, I didn't watch SmackDown last night, but apparently John Cena was hit with a Samoan spike on SmackDown last night, and he had trouble speaking. And I loved, WWE's can be, even though they can still be WWE, they can be real with the fans sometimes. It still cracks me up that they're trying to pass last night's SmackDown off as live. Oh, John Cena took a spike to the throat last night on SmackDown. I'm like, well, he must have flown the fastest plane ever. Is he not tired? Has he not slept since last night? Like, if that was really live, that would be a really difficult schedule to pull off. So I like that they talk about last night's SmackDown like they were actually in whatever fucking city they were. I forgot. But John Cena was speaking with, a raspy voice because of that Samoan spike. So it's weird that he was able to walk off on his own power here after the match. Now, the match was what it was. Cena had a little bit of offense, but this was pretty much a solo beatdown. Cena took 4 regular Samoan spikes, kicking out of a couple of them, I believe, right? Solo hit him with 4 individual Samoan spikes, and then finally lifts him up off the mat and then just rapid fires about 5 more, like boom, 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 boom. So I feel like he got hit with anywhere from 7 to 9 Samoan spikes, and Solo covered him and beat him emphatically. This was probably the worst loss John Cena has suffered since Brock Lesnar in 2014, in terms of just being decimated. And this was one of those. So this really put Solo over huge. After the match, like I said, John Cena, they were selling the dangers of the Samoan spike, and here Cena took 9 of them, and he's able to walk off. But I think the story was about him just walking away, hearing it from the fans. Thank you, Cena. We love you, Cena. Whatever. And he kind of leaves, and he's got this look on his face of uncertainty. So that's kind of what they're telling with Cena right now. And who knows? Do I feel like this is the end for Cena? Was this John Cena's last match? Is he retired now? No, I don't think so. But I think the days of John Cena really being a serious contender in WWE are gone. I think he could still come back and do what The Rock did and win the championship. I still feel like that's in John Cena's future, for sure. Especially now that Ric Flair is in AEW. Maybe WWE wants to take that record that's kind of bullshit anyway, but take that away from him, give it to John Cena. But even if they don't give it to John Cena, Ric Flair's own daughter is going to break that anyway. So I don't think Cena is done, but maybe he is done. Maybe he doesn't work next year's WrestleMania. I mean, at this point, what's the point for him to work? Unless he comes back and challenges Solo to a rematch and he beats him at WrestleMania or something like that, that maybe earns him a title shot after that. And, maybe that's where he wins his next one next year when the belt's off of Roman and we get Cody and Roman for the title at Crown Jewel. That's what I'd do. I would have John Cena and Solo Sikoa rematch at Mania. Cena beats him. Cody beats Roman. Cena challenges Cody for the title at next year's Crown Jewel. Something like that. Might be fun, right? But what does Cena do now? Like, if he doesn't work with Solo at WrestleMania, what would he do? Who would he work with? What kind of match could you make that would really be interesting, since Cena's been taking L's in every other singles match he's had? What does he do? When do we see him again? Do we see him again? Is it a year? Do we have to wait a year before we see John Cena back? Or because of whatever's going on in Hollywood, is Cena going to maybe turn back up, take the rest of the year off, come back for Rumble time, work Mania season, and then leave again? No idea. Don't know what the internet's saying. Don't know what the journalists are saying. Don't know what anybody's saying about that. All speculation at this point. But regardless of whatever Cena does, we wish him the best. We've always had John Cena's back here, and watching him take that L, watch John Cena do what he's been doing for the past 5 years, just makes me think back to 14 years ago, 13 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago now, where Cena was the worst thing that's ever happened to the wrestling business. He's going to kill the wrestling business. WWE is going to go out of business as long as John Cena exists. John Cena is a cancer. All of these, the sky is falling type of attitude about John Cena throughout the years. Remember when everybody was saying that stuff? How come WWE's not dead? Because they swore to me, good mic work, you're stupid. WWE's going to go out of business if they keep putting John Cena over. Well, they did. And not only did they not go out of business, they are as strong as they have ever been. Remember when everybody said that? They said it to me. I got fucking countless thousands and thousands of receipts of people telling me in YouTube comments about how fucking dumb I am for believing that John Cena's not going to kill the wrestling business. Told you I was right. Told you. Told you fans are fucking crazy. I'm glad that Cena is now giving back. I mean, they're billing him. They're announcing him as the greatest of all time. Somebody said to me on Twitter tonight, they're damaging his legacy. What? They're damaging his legacy? No. Ric Flair wrestling when he's 80 years old, falling asleep in the ring is damaging his legacy, okay? John Cena coming in, putting young guys over, helps his legacy. Does not damage it. What the fuck is wrong with wrestling fans? So anyway, Cena, best of luck to you. We've always had your back here. It's kind of been a theme on the channel for the past decade and a half, and we wish him the best, and we hope we see him again. After that, they ran a little ad for basically like a WWE experience, all interactive thing that they're building in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Probably similar to, because I went to WrestleMania this year, but I didn't go to the big WWE store or the shit that they set up apparently every year at WrestleMania. Apparently it's going to be something like that. Maybe even something that resembles kind of like what a Hall of Fame will look like, a physical Hall of Fame, if they ever elect to build that here in the States. So that's very cool that they're getting that in Saudi Arabia. It would be great if all of that shit they've been collecting in the warehouse that Ben Brown's been working on and that's been featured on the A&E Treasure Show and all that stuff they're collecting could one day be used for a big physical Hall of Fame here in the States. The fact that we haven't gotten that shit done yet and we're building stuff over in Saudi Arabia is crazy to me. But WWE experience coming to Saudi Arabia, which Vince McMahon said Saudi Arabia is WWE's home now. Or excuse me, he said Saudi Arabia is WE's home, because whenever Vince McMahon talks, it's WE. It's not WWE, it's WE. WE's home. He just says it in one. Oh, Vince. So that's opening. Then we get a segment that I did not understand. I had no idea what was going on. I walked out of the room. I was messing around. I went and fed my cat, and I had a waffle, and I was not paying attention to this. It was a Miz TV segment, which with I guess a local movie star or local TV star. I didn't catch his name. Never seen him before in my life. And Cena brings him out. Grayson Waller shows up to try to cancel the party. Said, this isn't a real talk show. Bring a real talk show out here. And they start setting up the Grayson Waller effect shit. And Miz and the local celebrity there proceed just to beat the shit out of Grayson Waller. And even the dude kind of got up gave a nice little, who does that kick? When you grab the ropes, you're on the outside of the ring on the apron, you grab the ropes and you lift up and kind of enziguri or Pele kick sort of over the top turnbuckle. Lots of wrestlers do that move. He did it to Grayson Waller, which was great. And I think Miz might have hit him with the skull-crushing finale or whatever, and he celebrated with the local guy. So Miz face turn is in full effect now. He is officially a babyface, which I think that was pretty much set up last week, but this solidifies it. And I guess that was a good little moment there for the local audience. So that's good. I hope they enjoyed that, because I don't know who that guy is. If you guys have any idea. Oh, he's a local comedian. They have comedy in Saudi Arabia? Cool. That's good to know. So yeah, that happened next. And then we got Logan Paul challenging Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship up next. This was pretty much exactly what I expected it to be out of these guys. I knew it was going to be good. Figured Logan Paul was a shoo-in to win this championship here. And just didn't know, how he was going to do it or how they were going to book the finish here. But the match was good. Logan, he's already done this move a few times, and I always shit my pants every time he does it. That fall-away moonsault from the second rope is the damnedest move I've ever seen. Seen it a few times in AEW as well. I think anybody that can pull off that move is just incredible. It's hard enough doing a moonsault from the top rope, not holding anybody. Holding another man in your arms and doing it from the second rope is just fucking nuts. That's just unbelievable. So Logan Paul has one of his douchebag cronies show up outside of the ring and hand him a pair of brass knuckles. So you feel like he's going to use the brass knuckles to steal the win here. Ray knocks the knucks out of his hand. The knucks go flying to the outside of the ring, and Logan is telling his friend to go get him, and his friend is like trying to crawl undetected from the referee over to get the knucks until Santos Escobar hops the barricade, steps on the knucks, not allowing the dude to grab them, and chases the friend away. But he doesn't pick up the knucks. He just gets the friend out of dodge and neutralizes him. Logan picks up the brass knucks, winds up nailing Rey Mysterio with them and winning the United States title. So I'm glad they tied in Santos Escobar. As soon as I saw Santos, I'm like, oh shit, he's going to turn. But no, they're playing it off a little bit longer than this because Ray has done things to Santos as well, kind of like accidentally, you know, when he got laid out in the back and then Carlito went to go tend to him and Santos was in the ring by himself and he's lost some United States title opportunities, things like that because of this whole situation. So you know it's going to probably blow over, and I've been expecting Santos to turn on Ray for a while, but now with no belt involved, you don't really need it. I don't even think Ray really needed to be the U.S. champion anyway. So now maybe him and Santos can split, or they can slow burn this a little bit longer until they actually start having some actual beef with each other. And then that boils over. Don't know. We will see. But Logan Paul, as expected, did win the United States Championship here. I'm fine with that. But like I've said in my last couple of streams, my only concern is now on SmackDown, technically your two biggest champions are both part-timers. So Roman, apparently, if the internet is to be believed, he's not going to be defending that title again until the Royal Rumble. I'm sure he will be on TV. He should have a televised match, tag match or something between now and then, I hope. But if not, he's not going to be much of a factor on SmackDown. That means your United States champion usually needs to step up and have some big matches on the show to kind of carry the show. So you have a championship on there, and now Logan Paul holds that. So if Logan Paul isn't going to be around very much, what the fuck are you going to do on SmackDown between now and WrestleMania if the only real major championship you have on that show now is the one that Io Sky has, and the occasional opportunity for the tag champs to show up over there. So we will see. I personally have no problem with Logan Paul winning the title. You knew it had to happen. He is, to kind of justify what they're doing with him. I mean, they've put him in some major, major matches. I just don't think this was one he could lose. Lost to Roman, lost to Seth. This was not a losable one for him, I felt like, and it would be a good way to make him a champion of the company. Because think about this. This is what I thought about Logan when I was watching him tonight. Imagine Logan Paul take away everything we know about him. The YouTube show, what a douchebag he is, his boxing fights, his podcasts, and how popular he is outside of WWE and the name he made for himself outside of that. Pretend that doesn't exist. And this is just a kid who wanted to become a wrestler, got signed, went through the Performance Center, and is up on the main roster now. He would feel like a major player, would he not? Like, if you just forget about who Logan Paul is and just think of him as a wrestler and a wrestler only, homeboy's got all the tools. Looks good, can talk, can wrestle, gets reaction from the audience, good and bad. Fans appreciate him and respect him for good matches and can boo the hell out of him when he's being, the monumental douchebag that only he can be. That is just, he's got like literally every single thing you would want as a wrestler. Look, speaking ability, presence, all that stuff. He has it. He has it. And he's got that like natural ability. This dude's had 4 or 5 matches in his life. Every one of them have been considered good. You don't just come across that shit every day. That's why, as much as I'm not a huge Logan Paul fan, and people like him who get famous for the reasons that he became famous, he's certainly not incapable. And he fits right into wrestling. You take all of that other celebrity status away from him, this guy just seems like tailor-made for the wrestling business. And I think he's fucking awesome. So I have no issue with him winning the United States Championship. I just hope that, he's on TV enough to where SmackDown isn't left without any championships. And I'm curious how long his run is going to last. It could be quick. It could be like super quick. He could just pass this belt right off to LA Knight. Or, they could push him all the way until WrestleMania. And I think whoever beats Logan Paul for the U.S. title, whoever takes that championship away from him, whether it be this month at the Royal Rumble or at WrestleMania, I think it's one of two guys, LA Knight or Kevin Owens. Those are the two. They've already teased Owens and Paul last week. I think Owens might be the more likely scenario there, but, LA Knight just took an L from Roman Reigns. It's like, when last year or a couple years ago when Sheamus was, losing all his title shots against Drew or whatever, and like they gave him the U.S. title as a little thank you for all your hard work. Maybe it's something like that, but I think LA Knight or Kevin Owens will be the ones to take the belt off of Logan Paul whenever that happens. But they could be just keeping the title on Logan Paul until they get to WrestleMania, where he will then drop it. But we will see. Yes, Zane, thank you for reminding those. In case somebody did ask, I did forget about a family arrangement I have tomorrow, so no watch along tomorrow. We're going to pick those back up next Sunday with a Survivor Series. Sorry about that, but we'll be back up here Monday night after Raw to make up for that. And I owe the members some Saturday night's main event watch-alongs. We will get back into that now that my schedule is finally starting to calm down a little bit at work. I can pick some of those back up for us. So that's coming, y'all. I promise. Let me cruise here to the chat before I get to the women's match real quick, because I got a couple of super chats I want to knock out before we talk about Io Sky and Bianca Belair. Some more grades coming, a lot of B's, a lot of C's. See, that I can live with. It's the D's and F's that I'm like, huh, for real? Michael Kumo, good to see you in here today as well. We got Spaz Phoenix in the house with 5. Thanks, dude. Sammy steals the case. Kairi returns. Ripley is a monster. And Saudi fans chanting for Punk. And Wade had a nice shout out for Bray Wyatt. Pretty good show. Yes, that's right. The fans were chanting for CM Punk, and I did hear Wade shout out Husky Harris on the show, which was very cool. JJ Legs got 5. OG JJ, what's up, man? What's up, Greg? I have a crazy question here, but if Roman walks out of WrestleMania 40 with the title, do you think he breaks Bruno's record? No, he will. Nobody will break Bruno's record. That record is unbreakable. The only record that's in reach is Hogan's, because he's already beaten Pedro's, I believe. Oh, no, Backlund. I'm sorry. Hogan and Backlund are reachable, I feel like, because Hogan's not that far off. If Roman retains at WrestleMania 40, that should only put him about 6 months away, because Hogan held the title for like 4 years and 2 months or something like that, from January of 84. No, 4 years and 1 month. No, just 4 years and like a couple of weeks. Like 4 years even. Let's just call it 4 even. He held it from January 23rd, 1980. I actually know the dates. This is what a fucking psycho I am. Hogan won the title January 23rd, 1984. He lost it February 5th, 1988 on the main event. So that is just a little bit over 4 years. So if Roman retains at WrestleMania 40, he probably just needs to get to second week in September, right? And Hogan's is broken. But Bruno is completely out of reach. Bruno is just an unattainable record, because that was so fucking long. And you're just not, the way the business moves now, it's crazy enough. Like Roman, basically in this, if you were to, try to put today's wrestling to the scale of wrestling in the 70s, Roman technically has held the title as long as Bruno Sammartino in terms of how long it's felt based on the pace, relative to how it used to move back in the day. But Bruno, we'd be talking 7 or 8 years, and that's just not doable. Roman to break Bruno's record would have to hold the title until like 2028 or something like that. And no, that's just nuts. That's nuts, JJ. But if it happened, I would probably be the only one not complaining about it. I bet you. Zane G, a Muhammad Hassan presence would have been better. Yeah, maybe. Max has got 2 more for me. My only concern for Solo is what happens next. Why would you be concerned with Solo after he beats John Cena? I'm not concerned. It's not for Solo. Like the one person in that match that you should not be concerned for is Solo. He beat John Cena. WWE's doing what they're doing with him. He's in the bloodline. They're doing him. I mean, I don't know what you mean by what's next. He's going to be on TV doing what Solo Sikoa does, helping out Roman Reigns, having matches on SmackDown. I don't know. But Solo, I think at some point will be a mega single star. It's just, I think the bloodline needs to maybe run its course, and maybe they move him away or transfer him to Raw or something like that. And they try to make him, at least a level of star that Umaga was. Umaga never beat John Cena. I think Umaga was a better wrestler than so was Solo Sikoa. But in terms of Solo Sikoa, I'm not concerned for him at all right now. I don't think he's going to go the path of Austin Theory, if that's what you're talking about. We saw how Austin Theory did after his win over Cena. Didn't do shit for him. But fans never really liked him. Fans have been anti-Theory basically from the beginning. A lot of fans are okay with Solo. He's seen a few more criticisms lately, but since he came in, he's been largely appreciated and fans like his presence. So I'm not too concerned, really. I can't imagine a scenario where you would see a wrestler beat somebody that WWE's billing as the greatest of all time, and then you're worried for that guy? Why are you worried? Why is everybody so worried? Nothing to be worried about. Who else? Logan saved Ray's life. Respect. I did like how Logan approached Ray after the match and said, "Hey, I just did what I had to do, man. You would have done it too." That was kind of cool. Good to see Diet Water. Yo, good to see you in here. Let's talk about the women's match next. Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair. I never thought Bianca was going to win the title back here. A lot of fans I started seeing when Bianca came back and got her title shot. Oh, she's the next Charlotte. Oh, they're just giving her a championship match. No, they're giving her a match to tie up that loose end because she went down and left at the hands of Damage Control. You would think, logic would tell you that she's going to come back wanting a piece of them girls, right? And they gave her a title shot probably just to get that title shot out of the way or to use it as a vehicle to get Kairi Sane back in the company. I was never thinking that Bianca was going to come in here and win the title. I'm not ready to put her in Charlotte category yet. I just don't think that's what they were doing here. And a lot of fans get real uppity. Just fucking chill, man. Just chill. She ain't winning the title. She's already had a couple of really long runs. If they were to have her beat Io Sky here, then I would agree with all those. Oh, she's the next Charlotte. Then I'd agree with you. You're right. But you're not right. She wasn't. This was a match you kind of had to do. Who else was Io Sky going to face? Bianca is the former champion. She's kind of owed a championship match anyway. So just do it, get it out of the way. And then hopefully maybe Bianca, like I've been talking about, can move on to maybe a little bit of a character change. I would love to see her go heel. Could you imagine Rhea Ripley dominating in Judgment Day and Bianca dominating with Lashley and her husband and Dawkins? Oh my God, that would just be fucking great. But you have to get there first. And in order to do that, you got to wrap up your business with anybody you're feuding with previously. And now Bianca Belair is probably going to have a bone to pick with Kairi Sane too. But the match was good. Loved the gear again on both of these women. Bianca looked great. Io Sky looked really good, kind of Lita-ish shit that she was wearing there. Bayley was out there, of course, not surprising, and she was out there to distract the ref a lot during this match. During one spot where Bianca Belair was pinning Io Sky, and Bayley's got the referee all distracted. And then we see Kairi Sane showing up on the outside of the ring, attacking Bianca Belair, beating her down. Bianca, I think they toss her in the ring. I forgot what happened there. Did Bianca try to fight back in that situation or what? All I know is Bianca got thrown in the ring right as Io Sky's going to the top and hit her with a moonsault. So she hit her perfectly there, got the moonsault for the win with help from a returning Kairi Sane, who I thought looked great. Very happy to see her back. She was spotted. There was a fan video on social media where she was waiting to do her run-in with one of the producers or whatever, and people saw her and they were kind of like doing the thing. Shh. So she was spotted. And I talked about Kairi Sane in the predictions possibly showing up here, and I wasn't sure if she would or not. I'm like, it just depends on how they're going to bring Kairi Sane in. Is she going to bring in to be an ally to Io Sky? They go way back. That footage of their 2017 Stardom match with Io Sky hitting the moonsault on Kairi Sane and then hugging her, that's been floating around. That was so cute. So they're back together. That's great. But I kind of thought they might bring Kairi Sane back in as a babyface first. But this kind of fell flat, I feel. I'm not too worried about it, though, because I think Kairi Sane being back is going to be a big deal once they get back here in the States. I just think she's been gone for a while. Fans didn't really seem to know who she was. They weren't really very loud or enthusiastic for Bianca and Io Sky either. Maybe this match would have been better to maybe reverse it with the other women's match. I think maybe Bianca and Io should have gone on in the five-way spot. The five-way went here. Might have helped it out a little bit. I don't know. But Io Sky retaining with the help of Kairi Sane is something that makes me incredibly happy. And apparently word on the street is that Kairi Sane isn't the only name that could be turning up in WWE. So Io Sky might be getting some friends. It would be awesome if Asuka turned heel and, they all joined and formed a Japanese faction and raised hell together. That would be great. And like I said with Bianca, I'm sure now she's going to want to have a match with Kairi Sane, and that's probably going to happen. But I hope that sometime here within the next year or less, we get some sort of a change in Bianca Belair. I need her to be a little bit more mean and vicious, killer instinct, just be an ass kicker. It's been a lot of years of Bianca dancing and twirling and being inspiration to little girls. Now it's time to kick some ass. That's my opinion. You can always go back to that. You can go back to it. Become just like Bayley is eventually going to be hugging people again one day. One day she will. But Bianca, I think it's time to do what Bayley did with Bianca and get that girl as a heel. Then it was time for Cody Rhodes and a very pissed off Damian Priest, who's got to come out briefcaseless against Cody Rhodes. And this match was exactly what we would expect. Judgment Day interference. They were all out there. Balor came down first. JD tried to attack Cody, but he gets nailed and taken out. And then Dom shows up. So it was like one after the other. It was Balor first to distract the referee. Then JD tried to come in from behind, but Cody neutralized him. Then Dominic tried to come down, but Jey Uso showed up out of nowhere and super kicked everyone. Knocked Dom out of the way. Super kicked Balor. Super kicked JD McDonough. Helped Cody out. Cody was able to hit the 3 crossroads on Damian Priest for the win and get the big Cody victory there. Not surprising in that outcome. Cody needed to get that for revenge. I thought this show could potentially, or this match could potentially open the show. I thought maybe Cody and Priest would open. Cody is still pissed off after being injured at the hands of the Judgment Day, so I could see him early on injuring Priest. That's what I thought they were going to do to neutralize Priest in his potential cash-ins, is just to have Cody hurt him since they hurt Cody earlier. That's what I thought they were setting up. Instead, they just had Sami Zayn come out and steal the briefcase, which I thought worked much better. Cody got the win here. That's great. Priest can eat all the losses he wants right now. This guy's going to be your next World Heavyweight Champion. It's going to happen. He's going to beat Seth Rollins. He's going to successfully cash in on Seth Rollins. I would love it if that happened on Monday Night Raw. Because think about it. Raw is kind of shopping right now in terms of finding a new home. It's probably going to be leaving the USA Network. They're getting their asses handed to them in the ratings right now by Monday Night Football. But you book a cash-in or you have a title change on that show, that could be a big deal. Maybe that's just something they can do to try to, elevate Raw a little bit, make it look a little bit more attractive. It's got to suck to be negotiating a TV deal when you're being affected by the football ratings. But I think having something like that happen on TV could be kind of cool when it finally does happen. But I fully expect Damian Priest to be successful whenever that cash-in happens. And like I said, if WWE internally already knows when they want to do that, they might already know this. Maybe they haven't decided yet. Maybe they have. But let's say they already decided they want to do this at Survivor Series, or they want to do this on Raw before the year's over, or if they want to do this at the Royal Rumble. If they already have that plan in their head, then you need to see things happen on the shows that prevent Priest from cashing in, like Sami Zayn stealing it, like Rhea Ripley grounding him and saying, no briefcase for you for the rest of the day. Things like that need to happen. So you can only do that so many times before people like Max get too frustrated about it or whatever. But I think as long as you get creative, it can be fun, because first Rhea takes it away, then Sami steals it. It would be funny at Survivor Series if something else happens. Like if somebody hides it, you can't find it. Where the fuck is my briefcase? You got a champion dead laying in the ring, completely unconscious, in a coma. Priest wants to go cash in, but he can't find his briefcase. Fucking R-Truth took it and hid it under the bleachers or something. Like, that would be so funny. So maybe things like that they can do until Priest cashes in. But like I said, I don't know when the cash-in is going to happen. I'm in no hurry. I don't fucking care how long Seth holds the belt. Nothing frustrates me by any means at all. I haven't felt like Seth has worn out his welcome yet with being the first World Heavyweight Champion ever. If I'm building a title legacy, I kind of want a lengthy run as the first person to hold it anyway. So none of this is a problem for me. Might just be a problem for other people. But I believe that Priest they wouldn't go through all this trouble of fucking up his cash-ins. Like if he wasn't going to cash it in successfully, then they would just had him unsuccessfully cash it in tonight. That's all. So the more and more they stall, the more it tells me that Priest is winning the championship. So I believe that will happen. And like I said, I think it would be really cool if it happened on TV. It's been a while since we've had that. And I think Raw could use that little shot in the arm. Maybe we see it on Monday night. It's possible. That leaves us with the main event. Roman Reigns defending his undisputed Universal Championship against LA Knight. Like I said earlier at the beginning, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more here out of the match, maybe a little bit more of a creative finish. rather than just the standard shit we've been seeing from the bloodline, because a lot of the stuff is getting old. I've made fun of Paul Heyman a few times talking into the top of his phone, unless I'm just crazy. I've only had iPhones in my life. What phones do you talk up to the top here? What phone do you put your mouth here? Isn't it here? Why does he keep doing that? I don't know. But anyways, every time he says call Roman Reigns, it's so stupid. Why do you got to call Roman Reigns in the middle of the aisleway when he's not going to be able to hear you? Call him in the back when it's quiet in the locker room by yourselves, in that cushy, luxurious, comfortable locker room you have with the leather couches and the sushi. Call him there. Why are you calling him in the arena in the ring? You fat idiot. It's so stupid. I don't understand what the Walrus is doing. So I was hoping for a little bit more than the typical, but unfortunately we didn't get that. I will say this about LA Knight. I thought the match was good. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was great, but I was worried more about LA Knight kind of rising to the occasion, living up to this moment, performing at a main event level since he is in a main event match. And I thought he did. I thought it was great. I think Roman Reigns has had better matches with other people, but I still thought this was very good. And they put over LA Knight here pretty strong. He was kicking out of Superman punches. He was dodging and leapfrogging spears. He was kicking out of spears. And he had Roman down a couple times, did his little people's elbow thing that he does. He hit Roman. He got him in position for a blunt force trauma. But by that point, Jimmy Uso had already shown up out there and causing all kinds of problems for LA Knight. But Roman was able to put Roman's foot on the rope when LA Knight would have had him beat. But LA Knight was kicking out of Superman punches and spears, which I think is a pretty good sign that LA Knight will continue to be a top star moving forward here. Finally, LA Knight gets his hands on Jimmy Uso on the outside of the ring and just starts ramming his head repeatedly on the table, winds up putting Jimmy Uso through the table, and then Roman came through and speared LA Knight through the barricade on the outside of the ring. They did that spot, and Roman was able to get LA Knight back in the ring, hit him with a regular spear right there in the middle, and pin him for the win. So Roman Reigns retains. I thought, based on the dominant performance of Solo Sikoa earlier against John Cena, that a disqualification loss here for Roman Reigns was very likely. I thought he was going to lose via disqualification. I mentioned that in the predictions as well. Ultimately, I predicted Roman to win, which I turned out to be right, but I thought it could go the other way. I thought LA Knight could pick up a DQ win, count out win, where maybe Jimmy Uso has no other choice on a 3 count, but then just to dive in the ring and stop the 3 count, causing the disqualification. So they didn't do any of that. It was basically just a typical finish. Solo Sikoa did attempt to come out to the ring as well, but he was stopped, I think, by referees in the aisleway. So Jimmy was out there to help Roman, and he did help him win. So that should keep him in good graces with the tribal chief, at least for the time being. And Roman won, celebrated as he often does in Saudi Arabia. What's Roman's record in Saudi Arabia? Is he undefeated there, right? It was 1 year ago, I think 1 year to the day. Wasn't it the same date last year? It was like first weekend in November. It was Roman and Logan Paul, and that was a really good match. So last year against Logan, I think was maybe a little bit better of a match. This match here, I think, was disappointing in the sense that it was just your typical Roman Reigns victory with outside interference. 25 plus title defenses he's had now, many of them have ended the same way. I would like to see Roman get a clean one, even if it was against someone like LA Knight. I wouldn't mind, because I think he needs that. Brock, one cool thing about Brock is that he was a heel who was just winning. I want a heel like that again. I want a heel that doesn't need help to win. I know it's a very heelish thing to do that, but I appreciate the heels who don't need any help, who can still be heels and then just win, but win anyway. And Brock was doing a lot of that. Brock was squashing people as a heel, beating one of the most beloved baby faces of all time for the title in 5 seconds, and Kofi Kingston in a match that I sat not 50 feet away from, live in person at Staples Center. And all of the years of dominance that Brock had, even against Roman. Think of that WrestleMania 34 main event when everybody was convinced that Roman was just going to beat Brock Lesnar. No, Brock fucked him up. So I would like to see Roman get a victory like that one of these days, to where he actually just wins because he's a badass, not because he's got an entire bloodline of guys supporting him. It would just be nice for that to happen once. And it really just hasn't happened yet. So As I also mentioned last week, one thing WWE could possibly be doing is just trying to grow the fans' frustration, because I've been saying for months now that if the plan is to go with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, it feels like that's predictable as all hell. So maybe they got to change it up. They did a triple threat last two at 20 and 30. Maybe you do a triple threat this year. Cody, Roman, Gunther, Cody, Roman, LA Knight, Cody, Roman, Sammy, something like that. Or they need to go in a completely different direction. But if it's just going to be Roman and Cody, that's predictable. So maybe the best way to handle a very predictable match like that is between now and then to get the fans more agitated and even angrier at Roman Reigns. Hey, let's have him win a couple of more matches like this. Fans are already over it. They're already over the bloodline. They're starting to voice their frustrations. Many people feel like Cody should have won at WrestleMania 39. So you don't want a predictable main event unless the predictability of that main event is what the fans are coming to see. And if you get the fans just completely and totally over Roman Reigns by the time you get to WrestleMania 40, that'll maximize the Cody pop, the Cody victory when he wins, even though it's very predictable. And if Roman Reigns were to beat him again at WrestleMania 40, then I don't know what we do. That might be the end of the world if that happens. I mean, if we get the same match next year, I'm just trying to envision this. I'm trying to envision WrestleMania 40 in Philly, spear to Cody after a ton of interference, 1, 2, 3. Roman celebrates with a pyro again at WrestleMania 40. It'd be like, what are they doing, man? But when you think about through history, 10, 20, and 30, think about like who got over in those, not the biggest stars, not the Rocks, the Hogans, the Austins, the Brunos. It was Brett at 10. It was Benoit at 20. It was Danielson at 30. Now Rhodes at 40. I kind of like that. I kind of like that the milestone pay-per-view or the milestone WrestleManias haven't gone to the mega stars, to the Takers, the Hogans, the Shawns, the Rocks, the Austins. They've gone to the underneath guys, the workers, Brett, Danielson, Benoit, now Cody, who is popular. I do think he is a big star in WWE, but I don't think anybody is the Hogan Rock, Taker, Austin level quite yet there. But we will see. Roman escapes again. Fans not happy. Me, like I said, I think the fans need to kind of, take stock of everything here and just know that Roman probably isn't going to drop the title until WrestleMania 40. So in that sense, I don't care about him winning, but I do wish they would have some more creative finishes. You think back to the way the Royal Rumble ended this year, how great all that was. All of their matches, even with Roman surviving and winning these, have been great, but they've been getting less and less great. The ending with Owens at the Royal Rumble with Sammy turning was awesome. And the Cody Rhodes and WrestleMania stuff started the turn for fans to kind of get frustrated. And then SummerSlam was kind of like, okay, how much more of this do we have to take? Now Crown Jewel, Roman will probably have one more of these at the Royal Rumble where he'll face somebody, he'll survive again, and then by then he's been off TV, he's not defending the title, fans are like, what the fuck? It's time for him to drop the belt at WrestleMania. But I think in the terms of where we are in wrestling right now, if you're going to have a champion hold the belt for this long, I don't know why fans are getting frustrated. Like, enough of this already. When is he finally going to lose the belt? I'm like, don't we have enough wrestling to fucking distract us if there's one champion out of the 65,000 fucking champions we have in wrestling? One of these guys holds the title for a couple of years and you're pulling your hair out? Just chill. What's the difference? It's not like back in the day, when we had 1 hour of TV every week and Hogan was holding the title for 4 years. The business has got so much going on. We have 2 world champions in WWE alone. AEW's got one. We got other championship belts all over the place for the women, secondary titles and all of that. It's not like WWE still has just the 3 championships, the world, the intercontinental, and the tags. If that was the case, I might be getting a little bit antsy here too about Roman Reigns' 3.5-year run. But we have a million other champions and a million other things. I can handle one doing this. None of this bothers me. I'm surprised it bothers people to that degree. Oh, how much longer is it going to take? I'm like, don't you have other shit you could watch? I mean, that was my argument a little bit back in the day with John Cena. I'm like, there's a lot of wrestling yet. WWE, Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, TNA, all of this stuff. And you're getting this mad about John Cena? John Cena's one part of the show. There's literally 2 more hours of shit you can watch, 5, 6, 7 other matches on this pay-per-view, and lots of other things you can pay attention to if you don't like this one particular thing, you know? So with Roman, I don't get upset about the length of his title runs. My only concern, my only issue creatively is that maybe they're not doing enough creatively in these title defenses for Roman, and it makes it come off lazy, because when you're already not wrestling a lot as it is, and you've got all this time and space between title defenses, theoretically you would think they have all that time to creatively come up with shit. So when you're just doing the same old, they're either doing that on purpose, like I said, to really get us pissed off at Roman Reigns before WrestleMania 40 next year, or they're just lazy. It's one or the other. So I don't know. Overall, though, not the greatest Roman Reigns title defense, not the worst either, and I still give Crown Jewel a pretty good grade. I'm going to give it a B, not a B+, not a B-, just a B. So there you have it. There's my Crown Jewel review for you in a nutshell. Would you guys do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button for me? We are dangerously low on those likes. I would like to get a few more. That would be fantastic. Stone Cold is with me. Just be more creative with him winning. I can see that. I kind of agree there as well. Good to see you, Chiro, who's out of here. Good night. Gunther, there you go. Thank you for that, Isaac. Gunther is that heel. So you're right. So what I hope is that when Gunther eventually makes it to the World Championship, which he will, Gunther will be a world champion. There is no fucking way Gunther will not be a world champion in WWE. So let's see what he does when he gets there. If he still has his Imperium boys with him and this guy's a world champion, are they going to save him the way the Bloodline has saved Roman? But right now, Gunther is the closest to that Brock-level dominant heel that we've seen, which is why Gunther and Brock showdown at WrestleMania next year is probably likely from where we sit now, wouldn't you say? Unless Brock decides not to come back. But that could be a good torch passing. Here's what I do going to you now, since I'm not going to be around so much. And Gunther can be that dominant guy. And, I mean, hell, I might even put Gunther a notch ahead Cody in terms of the guy to beat Roman because of how dominant he's been. But we will see. Gunther certainly is the man. Max Pokebro, 2 more from you. LA Knight versus Cody would be a great future match. It would, but that's going to be a clash of baby faces, you know? Babyface matches can be great, but maybe not when you have 2 guys super popular like that. I'd rather see like Cody and John Cena. That would be more of a babyface match to where I don't think you're going to be tugging with the fans too much on their emotions. LA Knight and Cody, both full-time guys, both being super popular. I don't know if I'd do that match or not. It would be cool, but you'd be dividing that audience up. I think Cody and Cena would be way better. If they did Cody and Cena next year for the championship or something like that. Cody and Cena headlining SummerSlam next year. Maybe in Cena's retirement match, I either win the title or I retire. Something like that. Who knows? Lots of stuff you can do. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for me. I got to get out of here now. I got to head to work. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't think I did. But thank you very much for being with me this afternoon. Like I said, we are going to be taking off tomorrow because I'm not going to be home, but for the watch along, but we'll be back here next Sunday to do that. And we will be up live this Monday after Raw to talk about the fallout from Crown Jewel and if we in fact see anything special happen on Monday Night Raw, because I think at any point Damian Priest will in fact successfully cash in that briefcase. Just not sure it's going to be this year or in 2024, Survivor Series, Christmas. We don't know. We'll have to watch and find out. So thanks again for being here, guys. Have a good rest of your day, and I will catch you Monday night